Hello, this is Nancy from Kentucky Garden Gals, and I wanted to make a video on how you might prepare for a second coronavirus shutdown. And the one thing that I don't want to do is pass along any fears. I don't want to scare anybody, but I just want us to be aware and prepared. So most of us have already experienced the first shutdown, and the one thing that we all know that went first was toilet paper and water. So the very first thing that you might do is you want to have extra food and toiletries on hand. Another thing that you can do, and this is something that I just do as a habit, I keep my vehicles full of gas at all times. And you want to have extra gas around the house. If you're maybe you're going to mow your own lawn, you just want to make sure that you have plenty of fuel, and you can buy the stabilizer to add to that. You want to have a way to pay your bills in case of an emergency, and this was something that I personally experienced when the call centers and the business offices are shut down. That may mean that you do have to physically write a check and mail in your payment. I would try to pay things through an app or over the phone, and I wasn't able to do that. So make sure that you have stamps available and that you have checks and that you can pay your bills by snail mail if needed. One thing you might consider is shopping around for Christmas now. We know that it's the end of July, we're still hot, but the way things are going, the way our shutdown happened the first time, if we have a shutdown, it's probably going to be in the fall. So we've noticed that, we're not going to have football, the sports have been canceled, and if you were, whatever your family Christmas traditions were, we may want to make sure that we do have our Christmas presents already purchased and we're able to still have our Christmas with our families. We also might want to consider buying for Thanksgiving now. You may want to go ahead and get the turkey, the things that you would normally have for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Go ahead and get those ingredients now. Put your turkey in the freezer, your ham in the freezer. If we do have our second shutdown, we know how important it is that we spend our time positively and productively, especially for the younger children in the house. And we know that the children, they feed off of our energy. So instead of making your home feel like a jail, make it feel like a resort, make it fun. So you may want to plan now for crafts, you may want to have family game night with your children. So go ahead and get those things purchased and in place. Another thing that you might consider is helping to make sure that you can communicate with extended family members through FaceTime or Zoom. If you need to upgrade some equipment, now might be the time to do that. One of the things that just really touched my heart is how hard and how isolating the shutdown has been for the elderly. So our elderly neighbors, our elderly family members, let's make sure that we call them, that we send them cards, that we stay in communication with those people especially. You might consider purchasing exercise equipment, whether it's physical lifts, weights, a bicycle, a yoga video, whatever that you can do to stay healthy at home. And we want to remember how important it is to keep a regular schedule. One thing that has been very helpful that I didn't know about, and actually I know about this because my daughter teaches this, it's a it's a program called Outschool, and I'll put a link to this on in the comments of this video section. In Outschool, it's taught through Zoom, and it's for children maybe 10 to 15, and I may have that wrong, don't quote me on that, but number one, you're learning, it's not expensive, it's very reasonable, and your children are communicating and socializing with other children in their age group, doing something that they enjoy. So I'll put a link to that in the comment section, like I said. You might want to look into ways of making money from home, and I have already done another video on that, and so just look for that in the playlist. If you don't have a hobby, you probably want a hobby. Remember that staying busy and being productive, and you may want to purchase puzzles, whatever relaxes you and whatever you enjoy. You definitely want to make sure that you have what you need on hand to be able to do that. Remember that our physical health and our mental health are equally important. So if you are feeling depressed, which I don't know anybody that didn't feel depressed, make sure that you reach out and you have someone to talk to, that you put safeguards in place to prevent that from happening. And like I said, we want to remember that our little ones are counting on us. So with that, let's limit the news that we have coming into our home. For me, I don't watch any mainstream news. I actually have apps, and I have gotten to the point where I have to limit my time spent on that, because you look around you and you just think, what's happening? What's going on? Why is everybody so angry and so upset? And yes, I understand that we're trying to right wrongs, but the violence, how that just seems to be impacting people in a negative way. And that's all I'll say about that. Remember that you can garden in cooler months. You might consider container gardenings. One thing that's fun to grow in your home is lemon and limes, and citrus is very uplifting, so that would be great to uplift your mood also. If you're lucky enough to have a greenhouse or a hothouse, you definitely want to utilize that. Another thing that you might want to do is to buy any winter supplies that you think you might need. We saw in the first shutdown how panic buying, probably some hoarding, that really makes it difficult for all of us. So we saw from the first shutdown that the truck drivers, and there are national heroes, they will get supplies to the store. One thing that we may see this time, if we do go into a second shutdown, I pray that we don't, but if we do, hopefully stores will put limits on buying. That way there's enough for all of us. But I hope that you have found this video. I hope I have not instilled fear. I just want us to be prepared and to think ahead and to have the security in knowing that whatever we face, we are prepared, we're facing it together. I appreciate you watching this video. I hope you have found it encouraging. And if you have, I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you and have a blessed day.